All right, let's complete our three-question sheet for Islam. Um, okay. Um, what is the human condition? Humans must strive to submit themselves to the will of God. Islam means submission to the will of God, for without divine guidance, they are likely to stray from the path of prescribed and prohibited actions that God has set out in order to prevent moral error. Prescribed, do this. Prohibited, don't do that. And this will also create a socially just world. So where are we going? For the faithful, we are going to Jannah, which is paradise, heaven, by obedience to God's will. For the disobedient, we are going to Jahannam, which is hell. So heaven and hell in the Islamic cosmology are very similar to heaven and hell in Christianity. To Jahannam, which is reserved for those whom God has decided to punish for a time for committing grave sins and not repenting. How do we get there? We attain salvation via submission to God's will. That is the quintessence of Islam. This may be achieved by acknowledging a concept called Tawheed. Now, it didn't work. Hold on. Okay. Tawheed. I'm not pronouncing that correctly. I've tried and tried. And the Muslims in the class typically mock my pronunciation, but that's the best I can do. It is a central concept. It means the oneness of God, God's single identity, God's indivisibility. Three in one God? No, can't do that. Acknowledging Tawheed, the oneness of God, and submitting to His will as revealed to the Prophet Muhammad and his prophets. Believing. So Islam is mostly about orthopraxy, doing. But belief certainly has a role. Believing in God, the scriptures, angels, jinns, and Akhira, which means life after death. So what are jinns? They are supernatural beings that are neither angels nor demons. More about that later. So these are, I think, referred to as the 5 articles of faith. So doing is the most important thing. But yes, there is faith, of course, in Islam. We're probably not really going to unpack this until we do our in-depth study of Islam next semester. Also, by living according to the Quran and the divinely inspired sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. And most importantly, practicing the 5 pillars of Islam. These are 5 obligations prescribed in the Quran for individual Muslims. The 5 pillars is something you do, again with the orthopraxy. And we'll unpack those and talk about what they all are later. But that is a good summary of what Islam is all about.